Oleksandr Bortnyk's recent performance against Magnus Carlsen is that good that some players start to doubt him and some others are trolling him. But what's the truth? Is he a cheater or he's just a magnificent blitz player that doesn't care about Magnus Carlsen and he's not affected by the Magnus effect? Let's go and find out what's going on in the chess world. Hikaru Nakamura, the famous streamer,
Bortnyk is just a better chess player than Magnus Carlsen. I mean, he's just a better player. He beats Magnus every time. What more needs to be said? He's just a better player.
But my question to you is Hikaru trolling Bortnyk or he really means that? Who knows? And in the only case that probably in years that Vladimir Kramnik is going to agree with Hikaru Nakamura is in this case, and Vladimir Kramnik tweeted like agree, and he's saying afterwards that my performance against Bortnyk is better than my performance against Hikaru and Magnus Carlsen. But let's go and see what's going on between these two. Oleksandr Bortnyk recently beat Magnus Carlsen in Title Tuesday. He lost 2 bullet games to him. He won a bullet game, 2 Fischer random games. Bortnyk defeated Magnus Carlsen, 1 draw, 1 win by Carlsen, 1 win by Bortnyk, and it seems like that he has a very, very good result against Magnus Carlsen. Now let's go and watch this fascinating game between these two. Magnus Carlsen has the white pieces against Bortnyk, and at the beginning of the game, Magnus, because he was streaming, he was choosing the move in the opening by the roll of a dice, and by chance he come up with this f3 move. He had to play with the f pawn and he decided to play f3. Is Magnus trolling Bortnyk? I don't know. Bortnyk responds with pawn to e5. This is a blitz game, 3+1. Knight to c3 and d5. Black is controlling the center. d4, he wants to break that control. E takes d4, no, e takes d4, knight to c6, d takes e5, and d4. Black is pushing in the center, and after knight d4, black is completely better, but he should play f5 in this position, which is a very hard move to find, to play f5 in this position. And computers suggest that after e takes f6, knight takes f6, black is much, much better. Black's threatening to take on e4, and then queen to h4, the game will be over. But in the game, Bortnyk decided to just take on e5 to take back the pawn. And suddenly Carlsen plays e3 and he's completely okay. Can you believe that he started the game with f3 and now the game is completely okay? And believe it or not, after knight c6, bishop to b5, f5, knight comes back to f2, bishop b4 and king f1. A very good move actually, king f1, because bishop d2 could have been replied by d takes e3. And after king f1, Carlsen is better. I can't believe it, but he's very good at these things, and he can get away with this bad opening play. Bishop c5, and now e takes d4. Queens are traded, and now we are going to Magnus Carlsen's comfort zone, the endings. But let's see what happens. Knight to e2, bishop drops back, bishop takes c6. A very strange decision by Carlsen. Probably he wants to prevent bishop d7. He wants to double black pawns. But if he wants to double the pawns, he should take it right away and he should not wait, because black is going to play bishop d7. But in this position, h4, knight d3 was better, because after bishop takes c6, b takes c6, yes, black pawns are doubled, but now bishop a6 is coming. And this diagonal is very dangerous. Carlsen was saying, okay, b3, I'm going to close the diagonal and I'm better. But knight f6, c4, and a5. Now black is going to put pressure on the queen side, and after knight d3 we have short castle. And remember always, this is not an endgame yet, and we have lots of pieces in the board, and the king position is also very important, and the king safety matters a lot. So now Magnus Carlsen's king is not in a good position. Bishop to b2, and now pawn to a4. Black threatens to take b3, sometimes a3, so he puts pressure on the queen side. Pawn to b4, a very bad decision. In this position, king to e1, rook to d1, but you can already see that black has the initiative in the game. And after this, pawn to b4, here black could have played bishop a6, and it's not clear that how Carlsen is going to defend it, because if he's going to play rook c1, then rook fd8, and there is a lot of pressure on his position. So in this position, Bortnyk plays a3. It's very understandable. He wants to prevent a3 from white, but white takes on f6 with tempo, and after takes back, he managed to play c5. Bishop to a7. In this position, once again, bishop a6 was better. And after bishop a7, suddenly Carlsen is again better. But he should find this king e1 move. And in many positions after that, rook d1, knight to c1, defending everything. Yes, his pawn structure is better, but he should be able to close this bishop and shut them down in order to have an advantage in the game. But after king f2, bishop a6, he goes in the wrong way. I mean, who plays king e1 in this position? Everybody plays king f2, I guess. So he plays king f2, and now suddenly black is better again. Rook ft1, rook b8, and knight to c1. Rook to d6, a very, very powerful move because this pawn is pinned. Now you can see why king e1 was better. There was no tactics along this diagonal. In here, even black can take on b4, and after take back, bishop takes c5 check, winning 2 pawns and a knight for a rook, and he will have 2 bishop in endgame. But in this position, black decided to play rook d6, another very strong move. And here, Carlsen plays rook b1, but suddenly bishop c4, attacking everything, and white cannot move easily. If he plays king e1 in this position, then bishop takes c5 is a very strong move. The reason is, if you take back with the knight, we have rook to e8 check, and you're going to lose a lot of material in this position. So very hard to play. He played rook to b3 because in this position Carlsen couldn't find what to do. Rook d2 was better, but already the position is very difficult. He decided to play rook b3, but after takes, black took another pawn. Still the pin exists and white cannot take on d6. Carlsen plays king f1 and now rook to d5. Carlsen takes on b4, takes on d1, king e2, and rook goes to b1. Now he's the rook up, and after here we will see a very beautiful move by Bortnyk. Rook takes b3, forcing Magnus Carlsen to resign the game. Let's watch the game once again from the first move. f3, we have e5. I mean, Magnus playing these awkward opening moves, and then Bortnyk takes advantage. Knight takes e5, and suddenly white is better. I don't know from where, but white is better. King f1, and we go to an ending, which Carlsen is a little bit better. But here he decides to take on c6 to destroy black's pawn structure. But suddenly he's under a lot of pressure because of black's 2 bishops, his vulnerable king, and black putting pressure on the queen side. And after a3, he once again managed to come back to the game. But after king f2, black, with this rook b8 and with these 2 bishops, has lots of tactics. And in this position, you can see that Magnus sacrificed an exchange, but still not enough. And black is an exchange up. Here, he just goes to collect all of the pawns on the queen side. And after that, a very simple rook sacrifice. And the reason is, if you take it, a2, a1 will be queen. So, based on this game, do you think that Bortnyk is a cheater? I don't think so. He's a very, very strong blitz player. And the main reason of his result against Magnus Carlsen and this level of performance is that he's not afraid of Magnus Carlsen. Many players, when they face Magnus, they don't play their own game. They usually play very bad moves. They overlook tactics. Bortnyk is very good at tactics, especially in time trouble. He usually finds them very well. He's a very good, especially with Moss. But recently in FIDE World Blitz Cup in 2024, he got 9 out of, 13 rounds. He didn't qualify for the top 8, but he was very good even at that tournament. So over the board, his performance was very well. But I believe that most of Magnus Carlsen's performance and his very, very good achievement is reached by his opponents not playing their best when they face him. Especially some players which lost too many games to Magnus Carlsen, they cannot resist the psychological pressure of playing Magnus Carlsen, and they usually play very bad moves. Of course, Magnus Carlsen is the best player in the world. We all know that, but it's not like that anyone comes and beats him, then after that he will become a cheater. In face-to-face games and in head-to-head games, Bortnyk is playing very well against Magnus. Sometimes it's also the same effect can apply to Magnus Carlsen, and he sometimes when he loses to someone and when he has a bad result against some player, he continues to play bad against that player for a while. We usually see that Magnus Carlsen at the end overcome that problem, and at the end he will manage to beat that player. But it's also true for Magnus Carlsen that his performance against Bortnyk is not at his best. This is my opinion on this case, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please write down in the comments your opinion about Bortnyk and about these recent topics and about agreement between Hikaru and, of course, not Hikaru. Hikaru is not saying anything, but Kramnik said that he is agreeing with Hikaru. Maybe he's trolling Hikaru, I don't know. Maybe Hikaru is trolling Bortnyk. I'm not sure. You can write down in the comments, and remember to like the video, and also remember to enjoy chess and life.